We have upgraded our setup a little bit today. We are in the same spot as the Dragonfire video. However, this time I have invested in a mic in hopes that it helps with some of this background noise. So here we go. Today I wanted to talk about the mighty Canadian Minebuster, my first ever wooden coaster. Actually, maybe Wild Beast was my first. I think Minebuster was my first though. I have pretty distinct memories of my sister flying out of the seat. So the mighty Canadian Minebuster is one of 3 wooden roller coasters and one of 4 original roller coasters that opened with Canada's Wonderland in 1981 when it had its grand opening. Commonly referred to as Minebuster, or if you're me, Spinebuster, lovingly. Minebuster is the longest single-track wooden coaster in Canada, standing at 3,559 feet long, or 1,085 meters long. Now, some websites will say that it's slightly longer than that. I'm not sure what that's about, if it's to do with counting brake runs or counting the station or something, but according to Canada's Wonderland, it's 3,559 feet long. So this ride is a modified traditional out and back wooden coaster, and it features an upward spiraling helix that actually has a tunnel over it, which is a lot of fun. Minebuster uses 2 trains with 5 cars holding 6 riders each in rows of 2. Minebuster was designed and built by Curtis D. Summers and was modeled after the Shooting Star ride at Coney Island. Now this ride features a 90-foot first hill with an 87-foot first drop. It has a top speed of 55.9 miles per hour. Now though the ride was designed by Curtis D. Summers, it was built in-house. So the coaster arguably was not actually built by PTC, despite the plaque at the operator's booth and several published records that claim that it was. 1979 is actually the year that PTC stopped building coasters, so it is arguable that they could have been involved, or this could have been the last ride that their designers worked on, similarly to the situation that I discussed at Dragonfire. And if you haven't seen that video, I will link it below and put a little clicky at the end of the video so you can check that out too. But that was another ride that was built right on the cusp of a company sort of ending or being taken over. So in this case it was PTC, and it was built technically after they stopped building coasters. Now Minebuster wasn't the only roller coaster at Wonderland that was designed after the Shooting Star ride at Coney Island. Similarly, Wild Beast, which also opened along with the park, was designed after that ride as well, and I will discuss that a little bit more in my Wild Beast video. Now, the mighty Canadian Minebuster was originally intended to be the centerpiece of the Frontier Canada portion of the park. It was going to be a themed area similar to Action Zone and the medieval area of the park, but as many Wonderland fans know, this Frontier Canada area was long talked about but never actually got built. That said, it does look like we're starting to see Frontier Canada come to life with the addition of our new Lumberjack ride, the Flying Canoes ride, and that whole section of the park that they're now starting to shape into more of a Frontier Canada theme. So now we get to the sad part of the Minebuster history story. Minebuster was once known for its awesome airtime hills. It had several little bunny hills through the out and back portion of the ride that unfortunately have been modified over several years as the water park has expanded. The ride itself actually kind of twists and turns through and back through the water park section of the park, and as the water park has expanded through the years, they have slowly kind of broken up what used to be multiple airtime hills and combined them to make less, smaller, not so airtime hills. It's sad. It's really sad. So these changes naturally have affected the amount of negative G's you feel throughout the ride, meaning less airtime. Less time where you feel like you're popping out of your seat and really flying sort of over the hills. Now the ride has also earned itself a reputation over the years of being just unnecessarily rough. Even I jokingly refer to it as the Spinebuster. Unfortunately, the ride just didn't get the maintenance that it deserves. For many years, I would say through the 90s, during the time that I first sort of got my first taste of Wonderland, I always remember it being a rough ride, and it just got worse and worse through the 90s and through the early 2000s. And last year it felt like they did some work on it, but this year there's definitely like a marked difference. So hopefully Minebuster's history of being the Spinebuster might finally be over. It is still early in the season, and I've ridden the ride mostly with no other riders, so it could be to do with the weight as well. But I really do feel that park maintenance has done awesome work on the ride over this past winter, and it's running really great this year. And let's hope they keep up that good work on it. So that's it for Minebuster's history. I think the more interesting part in this particular point in time is what's going to happen to Minebuster in the future. I know many Wonderland fans have been floating the idea and hoping for an RMC or Rocky Mountain Construction overlay on this ride. And if you don't know about RMC, what they do is they'll come in and they will actually put steel track on wooden coasters and basically just turn it into a whole new wild, awesome, crazy ride. So given that Minebuster is one of the park's 4 original coasters, I think an RMC update would be a really awesome way to preserve that history but also breathe new life into it and make it something modern and awesome and an international draw for coaster enthusiasts all over the world to come here and check out. I think myself and many other Wonderland fans would love to see this ride elevated back to its old status as one of the best airtime machines in the park. But what will actually happen to Minebuster? Only time will tell. But until then, I'm gonna take a few more rides. I love that ride. I picked the bounciest bench in the world, so that's gonna be noisy. I'm a little bit of a mess. Wonder how many people are gonna comment about how jacked up my eyebrows are. There's gonna be a whole video on that, I promise, so no need. Damn, this bench. Okay, we're gonna try to fix it. Here. Put my notes under one side in hopes that it would help, but I don't think it's gonna help, so for once in my life I'm gonna have to sit still.